The practice of embodied soul purpose includes the ability to distinguish between intuition guiding your choices or anxiety running your life. I'm Christelle Arcucci. You're listening to the Soul Purpose Podcast, the lightning path of embodied spiritual awakening with shadow and light integration. Quit people-pleasing, create healthy boundaries, reclaim power, and live your soul purpose legacy. This podcast is based on the assumption that every adult has experienced trauma in your life. Trauma can include events that are obviously difficult, like a car accident, illness or injury, a pet dying, having surgery, giving birth, death of a loved one, divorce, buying a house, losing a job, being bullied, or getting robbed. It can include the struggles of your own or a loved one's addiction, or a history of abuse or abandonment. Trauma also includes events that felt traumatic, but may have been dismissed as no big deal, like being left with a babysitter, not getting a part in the first grade play, or being told you can't sing. On the surface, these events can be easily overlooked, yet they may leave traumatic imprints. The level of trauma in your body, mind, and heart all depend on how you learned to regulate your nervous system during and after a traumatic event. I believe everyone has trauma to unwind and integrate. A key component of embodied trauma integration practice is learning to distinguish between your intuitive body wisdom and when it's guiding your choice, or when your pain body wounding is running your life. Keep in mind your pain body is not bad or wrong. You're not broken for struggling with anxiety or depression. The hardest life lessons are often your greatest teachers. The key teaching of this podcast is to recognize when your pain body is hijacking your brain and trying to convince you that it is in charge and the CEO of your life. Let's start to distinguish choices from your intuitive body that are of low importance and how your wounding, survival strategy, or your mind's override mechanism will try to derail and control you. The reason this happens is because your mind is literally designed to keep you in safety, which means keep you in what is familiar, even if it's unhealthy. As Carl Jung said, until you make your unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Your task, should you choose to accept the challenge, is to face your shadows, the inner landscape of programming versus transformational change. First practice we'll start with is getting dressed in the morning or in the evening if you plan your outfits at night. Take a moment and a deep soul body breath to ground, connect your mind, body, and heart. Feel your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath. Gently move your body. Bounce lightly to bring your awareness from your mind down into your heart, down into your hips. You can listen to episode 5 for more information on the soul body breath practice. Stand in front of your closet and ask, what is the best color or outfit to wear tomorrow in order to step into my greatest soul-centered power? Or change the request to speak directly to your desired experience or outcome in order to generate money, in order to get a raise, in order to enjoy delightful collaboration with my clients or partners. Name the specific outcome or experience you want to have that day. Keep breathing and notice what your mind says. and notice what your body guides you to. Often you will have an exciting first inspiration, yet your mind will try to logic you out of taking action, since your brain is wired to keep you safe by keeping your life and choices familiar, even if it's unhealthy or you are unhappy. When your mind is disconnected from your body, your wounded parts or anxiety will try to lead. This is not meant to demonize your mind. When your mind is disconnected from your heart and your intuitive body wisdom, it can tell you all manner of stories that are not true, supportive, or rooted in intuitive body wisdom or intuition. So at first, when you start this practice, the mind is going to try to take control. Listen to me, I'm the boss. Making healing choices from a deeply rooted connection takes time and practice. Be an observer when you're standing in front of your closet and ask, who is leading? Love or fear? Intuition or anxiety? Intuitive body wisdom or pain body or wounding? Getting dressed in the morning, there is no great risk. Nothing is at stake if you follow general protocol, yet still allow yourself to play. After you ask the question, then listen, 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 especially to your first inspiration. Open your mind to receive and notice how the guidance comes in. Some of you will hear words. Some will want to scan your clothes with your eyes or hands until you feel the inspiration. Others will have a deep sense of knowing. Here's an example. My intuitive body says, wear the coral skirt and purple top. My mind says, wear the teal-colored dress. Take a breath, pause. Listen to the voices and explore the feeling signature of each voice and its essence in the moment. Is it love or fear? Is it intuition or anxiety? When you start this practice, you may experience discomfort in listening to your intuitive body wisdom. As I selected this random example, just imagining standing in front of my closet, my mind said, wait, these are really bold colors together. Do they even go together? What's going on? Even in this made-up example, my mind and anxiety are trying to override the intuitive guidance. Yet I have done enough practice to know the difference between wounding and wisdom. As I build trust in my intuition, I am going to trust myself and make this choice to wear the outfit my intuition guided me to and go on with my day. Eating is another great place to experiment with this practice. When you sit down to eat, or you're choosing what you're going to have for a meal, ask your intuitive body from a deep place of connection. Become anchored in your body by taking deep breaths, feeling, recognizing where you are in time and space. Then ask, what can I eat for lunch that will support the highest expression of my body, mind, and soul today? Or to boost my immune system, or to help me feel clear and awake. If you're choosing from a menu or choosing from your refrigerator, pay attention to what your mind says and what your intuition says. These two practices are a great place to start. As you become aware of what you wear and what you eat, notice how often your intuition and your override mechanism, the pain body or anxiety or the mind, pull you in different directions. The next stage of unwinding, healing, and learning to distinguish between your wounding and wisdom is in regards to attending certain events, going to a party, or meeting somebody new. If you are in a phase of deep trauma where there's a fear and high anxiety when thinking about going out, there can be healthy fear that comes from wisdom. And then there's wounded fear that comes from trauma or the pain body. Fear is not bad. So be careful not to automatically connect feeling afraid with wounding. It's important in your healing that you learn what emotions, feelings, and sensations are rooted in truth versus where you can stretch yourself to expand your comfort zone. Make it your practice to discover where and when to challenge yourself in a way that is rooted in wisdom and not wounding, because the wounded fear will push you to do things when the cost is too great. I have unknowingly pushed myself too far many times when attending workshops, trainings, or business events when I said, "You have to go. You're going to miss out. You need this information. If you don't get this training, your business will fail." Okay, that was a really good example of anxiety, wounding, or the pain body trying to drive. You can feel and hear the FOMO and threats present in that example of self-talk. When I was working on this in my own practice many years ago, I was attending a lot of business trainings. Most of those events were in hotel conference rooms with recycled air, fluorescent lights, no windows, tight seating, back in the day when we used to do that, with 50 to 500 people in a room. This is not my ideal environment. It was really hard on me. I was actively working on this intuitive body healing practice in order to restore my intuition. I would negotiate with myself and use my inner guidance to help me select the best choice for the outcome I desired. For example, if it was a 2-day business building training I was considering attending, I connect with my breath, my body-mind, to decide if I'm going to attend the event by asking, will this event support me and my business to create a bigger impact and make more money? If the answer is yes, then I would choose which sessions to attend based on my intuitive body wisdom. There were generally morning and afternoon sessions, sometimes evening sessions with a lunch and dinner break. Examples of how I would plan my day. I would attend the morning session and then leave after lunch, or I would show up at the end of the lunch break and attend the afternoon session. Sometimes I would be guided to walk out in the middle of a session, sit in the sun, or walk around the block, and then come back for the next session. I let my intuition and my wisdom guide me, and it became easy to distinguish when my wounding, anxiety, or pain body was trying to control me with fear. Yes, I was missing information, yet as I rebuilt trust with my intuition, I always ended up hearing the information I needed most at that time, or magically meeting someone to collaborate with on a project I was working on. The FOMO, fear, wounding voice would jump in and declare, "If you don't attend everything, your business is going to fail." My bone-deep intuitive body said, "This is not accurate information. You are speaking from fear and pain. No, thank you." The intuition and wisdom body is not rooted in fear. It's not an urgent emergency type of feeling when you receive guidance. When my intuition is guiding me, and it is an actual emergency, it feels grounded, rooted, clear, direct, kind, firm, and confident. The fear, pain body wounding voice uses threats, shame, blame, FOMO, and a false sense of urgency. As you practice, you will begin to recognize the fear program and rebuild trust with your intuition instead. I want to restate this teaching in another way to make sure it lands, since this is often life-changing for my clients once it really lands in their body and in their bones. If you go back to the business events example, pause, breathe, feel your feet on the floor, anchor yourself in the present time and say, honey, I love you, and I'll be at the sessions that I need to be at. I trust that what I need is available and will be provided when I need it. When you're in a place of deep connection, body, mind, heart, and soul, you're rooted in your being. What you need shows up. The soul, body, breath practice is helping you weave your body, mind, heart, and soul together to restore your intuition. In order to notice when and how your trauma, wounding, anxiety, or pain body pulls you off center, practice your soul, body, breath, and present moment awareness. Anchor yourself, trust, feel your connection, willingness to face hardships and shadow aspects. Be with your wounds. Be okay with the things that you will miss out on. This practice will help you choose what you attend or what you do. Each time you consciously select the places and you stretch and challenge yourself with empowered and positive choices, you are healing your intuitive body and restoring your intuition. Stretch yourself in ways that are easier to heal. Think about increasing trust in your intuitive body like increasing your physical capacity. If you're learning to do the splits and you can't even go halfway down yet, it would be unwise to override your body's limits, forcing yourself into the splits on the first day. If you have perfectionist tendencies, keep in mind and heart that you will not do this perfectly, and forcing yourself with an override approach will likely get you injured. But take your time with patience, sensitivity, and persistence. Practicing every day, you will increase your capacity and restore your intuition and your body's wisdom. For the journal prompts, you can visit soulpurposepodcast.com for a printable version. I encourage you to practice without stopping and without editing, and using pen to paper is better than using your computer. The answers are your perspective and experience. There's no right or wrong, yet the practice itself often highlights your personal relationship with wounding and wisdom, with anxiety and intuition. What's the difference between wounding and wisdom? Write a magical example of when you used your intuition. How does your pain body or anxiety trick you into thinking it's the CEO and it knows best? How do you tell the difference between intuition and anxiety? Here's a few examples. Wounding, pain body, or anxiety often feels like contraction, hardening, urgency, frenetic energy, demanding, bossy, shaming, making wrong, either or thinking, controlling. Intuition, wisdom, often feels solid, confident, grounded, quiet, clear, knowing, certain, kind, focused, unconditionally loving, and that you have a choice. Wisdom is knowing how far to go. Wounding is shaming yourself for making a mistake. Just like if you have a yoga practice, that wisdom is knowing how far to go into a pose. Wisdom is trusting yourself to challenge yourself and when not to challenge yourself, so that you're anchoring your choices from a place of wisdom and not from a place of anxiety or wounding. When you make choices and push yourself and challenge yourself from a place of wounding, it can traumatize you or create new stress and anxiety. My invitation to you is to take on one or more of these practices. Practice in your everyday life with small things that are low risk, where there's no great cost in learning to distinguish between intuition and wounding, or love and anxiety. The focus of this podcast today is to anchor yourself in your being. In whatever ways you do that, connect body, mind, heart, and soul. Come into the present moment and learn to distinguish when your intuition is guiding you, when your wisdom is guiding you, or when your wounding, pain body, or anxiety is trying to push you forward and control you. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to walk the soul purpose path with you. You're listening to the Soul Purpose Podcast, the lightning path of embodied spiritual awakening with light and shadow integration. Quit people-pleasing, create healthy boundaries, reclaim power, and live your soul purpose legacy. You can access the free Soul Success Journal and meditation with all episodes of the podcast and any goodies mentioned in this episode at soulpurposepodcast.com/10. I believe in you and the magic power of your soul. For more revolutionary teachings and tools, please follow on your favorite podcast app or visit soulpurposepodcast.com. I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. I am sending you so much love.